doing?
That's uncanny. Okay, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Code Enforcement and Nuisance Board of the City of Bowling Green, Kentucky. The date is October 25th, 2016, and we're starting a little bit late at about 11 minutes after 5 p.m. Here in the City Hall Commission chambers. Roll call, please.
Deere,
Yes.
Simpson, Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Here.
Thomas.
Yes. I think you've all received the packet that includes the minutes from the last meeting of September 27th. Is there a motion to either accept them or change them?
Second.
Simpson, Dearbone, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. Case number 1, it's 2016-3658. The citation number is 2016-5893. The address is 1131 Clay Street. Owner, Miller and York, LLC. Brad, did you? Yes, swearing in. Please rise. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God. I was trying to make up for time here.
This case is the result of a roaming inspection that was conducted on May 25th of this year. During that inspection, I noted that there was missing inadequate protective treatment, including but not limited to peeling, flaking, and chipping paint over much of the exterior of the structure. As you see on the pictures in front of you, a notice of violation was sent to the PVA listed owner and address on that date with a re-inspection compliance date of the 27th of June. On that date, I spoke with Mr. Walter York of Miller and York Properties about this case, and he explained that a contractor had been hired to wrap the house in blue vinyl, and work would commence shortly. Mr. York and I communicated a few additional times in the following months regarding the property, and work eventually began 78 days after the case was started, which was August 10th, 2016. On the 8th of September, I noted that the case had been open for 106 days, and it did not appear that any work had taken place for some time. I sent an email to Miller and York requesting an updated timeline, explaining that the case was open for 106 days and detailing the times that Mr. York and I had spoken about the case. No contact was made and no changes were made on the property for some time thereafter. And on the 5th of this month, 5th of October, which was 133 days into the case, I re-inspected the property and found that it was still in violation. Due to the constraints that we're placed under for our standard operating procedures is how many days a case can be open, I had no option other than to issue a citation on that date and post it on the property. It was also sent by certified mail to the PVA listed owner and address. The photographs in front of you were taken during the time that the citation was posted. As you'll see, a portion of the house was prepped for either siding or some sort of work to be done with Tyvek type wrap or foam. Some wood was placed around window frames as well as around the soffit area. However, it stood in this condition for several months with no work having taken place. A compliance reinspection date was listed on the citation of the 17th of October, and that was since postponed due to the filed appeal. As of today, the case is at 153 days and the property remains in violation. However, as you'll see in this next set of pictures, there has been some work that has been started with the blue vinyl on the left side of the house, but there's still a lot of work to be done. As you see, the peeling paint there at the top of the house is still there, but the bottom has some vinyl that has been added since the citation was issued. Which was again on the 5th, so 20 days ago. You see some siding there in the front of the house, but again, the front porch area and columns still have the peeling paint, and then along the right side of the house, peeling paint and the Tyvek wrap or weather wrap, and the same is true on the back of the house. But again, there has been some progress as of today since the citation was issued.
We have a representative here from the company. You raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Who are you, please?
I'm Bill Miller, co-owner of Miller & York.
Okay.
As has been stated here, we have had an issue with a contractor. Paid him some money to do the job. He come by several times and did work to the property. It has new windows in it. A lot of prep work was done that had to be done prior to putting anything up. And then he just kind of disappeared on us. So we have a new contractor now. As you see, we have vinyl that's been done just in the last probably week. And this job will be done by the end of November, if I can get that allowance to do so.
If you can get what?
If I can get allowance from the board to give us 30 more days or the end of November, we will have this job completely done and taken care of.
We're not stopping you from doing it.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying I do have a violation, a citation on this, so if I could get 30 days hold on that, I will have it done, I promise.
How many days has this been, 150?
As of today, the case is at 153 days.
How many properties you all have, Mr. Miller, to maintain, keep up with?
We have over 300 units.
And you've got one contractor?
No, sir. We have many contractors. But
That's
it's
what I
very
thought.
hard to find right now for anybody else to just jump in and finish a project.
I will say in defense of Mr. Miller and Mr. York, we deal with each other on a daily basis, and as of the many properties that we send notices out for, this is the only one that's come before you in some time. So generally, the majority of their properties are very well taken care of very quickly. In fact, I had 3 cases earlier on College View earlier this month that had some areas of wood around doors and windows and such, and they were taken care. I had a 30-day timeline on the notice, and they were taken care of in like a week or a week and a half or something. So, by and large, this is an unusual circumstance. But again, by the constraints that I have to operate under at 133 days, it's I have no choice but to issue the citation in order to encourage compliance.
What happens in 30 days if you're not done?
The fine will continue to be upheld, I guess. But it will be done if I have to do it myself.
You do that work?
Yes, sir, every day. We've took care of, this is just some of the violations that we've had this year, and like I said, we've had no issues up until this point.
What explanation did this company offer you as to why they could not complete the work, even if they got started?
Sir, we can't even get a hold of them at this point.
Is it not a reputable firm?
It is a general contractor. It is not a big company. They basically do work.
Have
on
you
their
had
own.
other experience with this company?
Yes, sir. Right behind this house on Wolford Street, they did a beautiful job.
David had a case there during Target area, and I believe it was David that had a case
I
on
believe
it.
so.
And that house was wrapped in, hardly any time flat. It was rewrapped in vinyl, and that was, when this case was open and Mr. York and I spoke, that was his intent, was to have the same thing done, and then it kept dragging on for months and months, so that's
Have you
where we're
paid
at
them
now.
anything?
Yes, sir.
Not hopefully, not the whole job.
Not the whole job, but it's still, we're having to pay again now to have the job completed. So it's costly already for us, unfortunately.
Well, I've been on the board many years now, and Walter has been here once or twice.
Yes, sir.
And he's always been very diligent about getting everything in compliance,
And
so.
we do. We try to do our
And I think
part to
that's
help the
something that
community.
we do value and appreciate and commend you for that. And with that background and with your commitment to get it done by the end of this month, I would make a motion that we uphold the citation and waive the fine.
I second that.
Waive it, and what happens again if it's not done in 30 days?
If you're upholding the citation and waiving the fine, then we would simply go back to our code, I mean, it would come back to code enforcement since this is just the first citation. So then Mr. Miller and Mr. York and I can then come up with a timeline and say, okay, at the end of November, if it's not done, then the second citation would be issued. And, you know, that would be the consequence we could levy against that not happening. And then if they wanted to appeal that, they could bring that back in front of the board as
You know,
well.
somebody might want to amend that motion and add to it that at the end of, when did you say, end of November?
Yes, sir.
At the end of November, if the fine has not, if it has not been completed, we'll assess this fine plus an additional fine per day until the end of November.
Anyone want to make that amendment?
Yeah, I'll make that amendment, that at the end of the 30-day period, if this is not completed, then we'll add a per-day fine at that point until completion
What?
of, $100 a day at that point? I mean,
Is that acceptable?
Isn't that a minimum of what we've been doing in the past?
It's certainly at the board's discretion. I believe that generally it's half of whatever the most recent citation was, but since this was only a first citation, not a third citation, I think that that's an acceptable amount.
It seems to me that, I mean, they've shown that this is, I mean, they're on track to get this done, and it looks like we've got good weather for the next few days anyway, so unless we start having rain for 30 days, and we'll come back and address it at that point in time. We can come back and change it in 30 days if we'd like.
Have you got the second contractor under contract?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I think the motion was made to give the 30 days to hold the fine of $153.77, and if it's not done, then that would stand, and then at that point, we would add $100 a day until it is completed.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
No?
That's not what I heard. I heard uphold the citation and waive the fine.
We amended that.
No,
That part wasn't amended, I don't
we
believe.
waived the fine for 30 days.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
For 30 days. And then if it's not completed in 30 days, the fine would stand.
Fine will stand, and then we'll do a per day amount of $100.
Counselor, is that proper?
Okay, it is now. It was a
Okay.
little gray, so I think we've got it there.
Okay, good.
Wilder, Simpson, Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. Second case is 2016-6370. The citation number is 2016-6370, same number. The address is 419 Thames Way, and the owner is, how do you pronounce it? Chiquita and Marie Sparks. Brad, this is yours as well?
This case is the result also of a roaming inspection that was conducted on the 13th of September. During that inspection, I noted that the grass or weeds were overgrown on the property. I sent a notice of violation to the listed owner and address with a compliance reinspection date of the 20th of September. I was out on medical leave and was for that entire week, and I did not return to the office and was not able to inspect this property until the 27th. That was 14 days after the notice of violation was sent and the case was created. At that time, I found the property was still in violation. The average height of the grass was approximately 18 inches, with some spots that were higher up to 2 feet tall. A citation was issued on that date and was posted on the property, as well as sent by certified mail to the listed owner and address. Photographs were taken of the citation and property at the time it was posted. As you see in front of you, those are the pictures from when the citation was posted, and the city's contractor, a work order was created, and the city's contractor mowed the lot. It should also be noted this is the third grass case this season since the beginning of this year at this property.
What's the automobile setting? There's that on the property or next door?
Yeah, it was on the backyard, but that's since been moved. That was not part of this case, and before a case was created on that, the owner moved the vehicle.
Sparks? Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
My property I've been in my house for 30 years. This is my first time ever having to come before the board of any of my property, for my property, but I was working 2 jobs. I work 8 to 5, and then 5:30 to 11 or 12 o'clock at night. There was no way I could mow lawn. And furthermore, my lawnmower had been in the shop for 2 months. I got it back, and it's still not repaired. So moving forward in the spring, I'll have to purchase a new lawnmower. Or better yet, I will actually hire somebody to cut my lawn. I've never been before the board before, and I don't plan to be. I know that the city has ordinances. I understand. I do. And I know that the upkeep of the property is very important. And I don't plan on having any more violations at all. And I wish you would waive this one, but if you can't, I understand. But the car has been moved. The car wasn't even mine. But anyway, it has been moved. And right now, I've had damage done to my house because of the storm. Of course, my insurance is not willing to pay for anything. And that's what's going on right now with my home.
Is that what the tarp is on top?
Yes, I have
When
2
did
leaks.
that occur?
That happened in July when we had the storm. And I have Farm Bureau insurance, and they excluded my roof out of my insurance policy. So therefore, I've got to find money to get my roof fixed. So that's what's going on with my house. And I've been there 30 years. And everybody I've talked to, they never heard of a roof being excluded out of policy. And when I took out the policy, the roof was included. But they just decided to exclude it. So now I have no way of getting my roof fixed.
Who's the other owner? It says there's 2 owners here.
My mother doesn't live there. My mother's just still, her name is still on the deed as mine, because when she did live there, we did live together, but she moved out. So the house is still in her name and my name.
Ms. Sparks, did you consider asking a friend or a connection to somebody? You probably have a lot of friends who would be glad to come over and give you some assistance. I mean,
I
maybe a
have
church
talked-
friend.
You wouldn't believe how many people I've talked to about trying to get my house fixed. Every time I talk to somebody, they tell me I don't live in a rural area, or I make too much money. And I'm thinking, what am I supposed to do? I even called Karen Foley. I know you're aware of who she is. And she said that they could do something for me, but she doesn't really know for sure. But I have contacted so many people about trying to get my house fixed. I have.
The grass or
Talking about
the,
just mowing the grass.
I did contact somebody to mow my grass, and when he got there, the grass is already mowed, so he could mow it. So, but moving forward for the spring, I definitely will have to hire somebody to cut my grass, or better yet, I'll have to buy a lawnmower to cut it myself. So
well, if this weather keeps up, you may have to use them this year.
And the thing about it is this, we had so much rain in July. It rained a lot, and I was working 2 jobs, and there was no way I could cut grass, even though if I had a lawnmower. I was so exhausted, all I was doing was eating and sleeping and working. That's all I was able to do. I was getting home at 12:30 at night after I done worked all day. So I gave the job up last week, but I don't know. I'm just running the brick walls by getting my house fixed, and I'm having a hard time. So,
We saved you some money, didn't we, by mowing your grass for $154. Didn't have to buy a lawnmower, right?
I'm sorry.
You haven't had to buy a lawnmower yet,
No, but I'm gonna have to.
but it costs the city $154 to mow your grass.
And which I could have had it done cheaper than that, of
Yeah,
course.
I understand that, I understand, but it didn't work out this time.
No, but the thing about it is
Okay.
this, I mean, I work all day, and I hadn't had a lot of time to do anything.
Yeah.
I work full-time.
You got
and-
lots of friends, Mr. Sparks, I know that. Lots and lots
do.
of friends, yeah.
I know, I do.
You do.
Yes, I do. I agree with you.
And in the telephone directory, there are a listing of lawn services in the back. There must be 50 of them
Yeah.
in Bowling Green, and probably you
But the
could have
thing
got
about it
somebody
is
for
I have
$30
be
to
able
cut your.
afford to pay them. If I have to be able to afford to pay them, if I call them. That's why that's just, but I have somebody that I can actually get it cut. If I don't get my lawnmower in the spring, I definitely would do that. So. This will be my last time ever coming before the board. This will never
All right,
happen
can you
again.
speak up, please?
I said, this will be my last time ever coming before a board because my grass, this is one thing I've always tried to avoid. Because I know the city has ordinances, and I've always tried to avoid this. So,
Brad, did you say that you had other cases on this one or not? Did I miss?
This year, yeah, this is the third time that a notice of violation was sent. The other 2 times, the grass was mowed within the time allotted for the overgrown grass. I mean, the citation was not issued. It was just, we sent out a notice that said, hey, your grass is tall, and it was mowed by the time the compliance reinspection was done. So I don't know if that was before Ms. Sparks' mower broke or.
I can't even go ahead and cut it. Oh, I had my son. My son had hired somebody to cut my lawn. That's how it was. And then I don't know what happened.
How old
between-
is your son, ma'am?
He's 34.
Is he not able to help you out?
He works all night. He doesn't even live with me. I have another son that's 25. In this day and time, I don't even want to get into that. Kids
Well,
don't have
that's your
parents
personal
anymore.
business, but
Kids don't have parents. They just don't. And I've gotten out there to cut it myself a number of times, and it's not a small yard, especially the back. It's not a small yard. So, but anyway.
We've had cases where people had lawnmowers broken and not a real good excuse for 3 months or whatever it is. And I've heard what you said and I understand what you're talking about, but I need to go ahead and make a motion if it's time to do so.
Any more discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to uphold the citation and fine in the amount of $153.77. And that should pay, I guess, the bills. Is that right, Brad, probably?
The citation fee is the $103.77. The $50 is the mowing fee, so.
Well, $153.77 is my motion.
Would you consider asking for $50 to compensate the city for actually doing the mowing and giving her some concession on the other, or?
I probably would have we not already had 3 notices prior to this one. For
But
the
I
same
think
problem.
she took care of those 3.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
As amended?
I will second the motion that Delane made.
No amendment.
There is not, it was a suggestion then, okay.
Simpson, Deere. Deere,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
No.
Wilder, Thomas,
Need to be a new motion.
I make a motion that we uphold the citation. We assess her $50, which will compensate the city for their efforts, and we waive the balance of the fee.
They're out of pocket.
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Wilder, Dearbone, Deere,
No.
Simpson,
No.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes. understand what we just did?
You owe $50.
Okay. So do I just send a check? I don't have any money today. I don't get paid until Thursday.
You can talk to her and she'll.
Or I can just bring the check to you or whatever, I don't know.
I can't believe she's got two sons, 34 and 25, but they can't come over and cut their mothers. I guarantee they asked for her for money all the, that's the reason why she's got two jobs, probably.
Okay, let's proceed to the last case, which is old business, 2016-3408, citation 2016-4324. The address is 262 Warren Way. The owners, Richard and Cassandra Watts. Brad, this was your case as well.
Sir, this was in front of the board at the last meeting, September 27th. At that meeting, the board upheld the current citation fees and implemented a per-day fine in the amount of $400 to run until the property was in compliance. As of today, the pictures are in front of you. There's been no changes, no progress since the last meeting. And as of today, the case is at 158 days, with the property still being in violation.
We have a representative from Richard and Cassandra Watts. Okay, the motions would be, I'd like to make a motion to uphold the current per-day fines of $10,800 accrued to date and continue the per-day fine in the amount of $400 per day to run until the property is in compliance. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thomas, Dearbone, Deer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. No new business, no repeat offender on the agenda. The consent agenda has been changed. I think you have that in front of you. Do I have a motion to accept it as amended?
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Dearbone, Simpson, Deer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes. No further,
Chairman, I do need just a brief closed session discussion with you all about pending litigation.
okay.
Need to go into closed session.
Have a
for
motion to
pending
go into
litigation.
closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Wilder, Simpson, Deer,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Dearbone,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.